This episode of The Casual is brought to you in part by Squarespace. From websites and online stores to all the marketing tools and analytics, Squarespace delivers it in an all-around package so you can build an easy, streamlined, and beautiful online presence. Since launching The Casual, I've covered a ton of brands, particularly from Japan, but we never really broke down which Japanese brands you should absolutely know about before embarking on the Japanese street fashion journey. So let's do that. It's no time like the present, how they say. Now, fair warning, a lot of these are no-brainers for many of you, but that just sets us up for another list later on labels that don't get a lot of airtime. But for now, let's get going with the basics. I'm your boy Reggie Casual, and here are 10 Japanese streetwear labels you should know about. Let's get it. All right, little disclaimer before we start though. This list aims to cover strictly streetwear. So we're going to forego labels that are largely cut and sew offerings that could be streetwear and some people consider streetwear but aren't necessarily. Like brands like Visvim or Mainline Undercover. Those are out. Now that we've established that criteria, now we can get it. All right, so coming in at number 10, Bape. It's obvious, right? Everyone knows at least the surface story of a bathing ape in lukewarm water, if they know anything about streetwear, street fashion at all. Started by Nigo in '93, sold to IT in 2011, has a noticeable air of hip-hop inspiration, and is basically the Japanese streetwear mascot. Pretty much everybody knows that Bape comes from Japan. And while Bape's popularity ebbs and flows according to the time, more options have become available in recent years, and it still maintains a healthy, sizable fan base. So that's it on Bape. No more. No more, probably more, but later. Coming in at number 9, we got Neighborhood Japan, another obby. Started in '94 by Shinsuke Takezawa and Tetsu Nishiyama, not many people know that. Neighborhood Japan combines fantastically made pieces with Americana and function in mind while maintaining its core piece, the graphic t-shirt. Shinsuke was encouraged and mentored by Hiroshi Fujiwara, so it makes sense that Neighborhood became such a success. Recently, Neighborhood Japan has gained even more popularity due to its IT-backed venture hoods, which are retail locations scattered throughout Asia that offer Neighborhood and double taps, among others. Speaking of double taps, coming in at number 8, 40% Against Rights and double taps. Both entries are at number 8 because they were started by Tetsu Nishiyama around the same time, the same guy that helped Shinsuke Takezawa start Neighborhood. But where Neighborhood went a bit more classic Americana, 40% Against Rights and double taps more specifically went more military mix, leading to one of the most notable streetwear brands in the Harajuku Urahara movement. In fact, 40% Against Rights, which focuses primarily on silkscreen graphics and still does till this day, was sold at the legendary Nowhere store when it launched in '93, and 3 years later, Double Taps was started. Quick little fact about double taps. It's called double taps, W-T-A-P-S, because the pronunciation for W in Japanese is daburu. Daburu tapsu. That's how you would say it in Japanese. Daburu tapsu. And W sounds a lot like double in English. It's like a pun. I don't know, but that's why it's called that. Moving on, we got number 7, Bounty Hunter. Bounty Hunter is another one of those brands that rose to prominence during the Urahara movement in the early to mid 90s. But Bounty Hunter took a little bit of a different approach rather than like Neighborhood and double taps. They primarily focused on toys, and they did a lot of collaborations with notable individuals like KAWS. And they also introduced the world to the legendary graphic designer in Skate Thing. So eventually they made clothing, and they still do to this day, but a big part of Bounty Hunter is their toy making business. Coming in at number 6, we got number 9. Just 9 upside down. Started in '96 by Takahide Miyashita, number 9 was an ode to Miyashita's love of the punk and rock subcultures he was drawn to as a young adolescent. Number 9 was a bit more ambitious than the brands before it, as it delved a bit deeper into the design process than its contemporaries like Neighborhood and Double Taps, even though those were well done too. But because it was partly owned by distribution company Cooks, it failed to enter into that same realm as high street brands like Undercover, which is the reason why it's on this list. As a result, Miyashita left and pursued other ventures, and number 9, while relevant, is a shadow of its former self, when Miyashita was at the helm. Number 5, SoftNet. Born in '98, SoftNet, or Soft, is yet another brand that didn't get a lot of airtime out west, but is certainly a pioneer in the pantheon of legendary Japanese street brands. Rather than being influenced by punk like many of his contemporaries, creator Kiyonaga Hirofumi made Soft to be minimal, appealing to Japanese sensibilities of minimalism using contemporary Western apparel. It was a hit, and as a result spurred on 2 other brands that took on Kiyonaga's other interests in sport, with FC Real Bristol, which is just a completely fake football club that's a brand, and Uniform Experiment, which was a collaboration brand that was started with Hiroshi Fujiwara. So there you have it, Hiroshi Fujiwara. There he is again, just there he is. There he is. Coming in at number 4, we got Vanquish, started by Ryo Ishikawa in 2005. Vanquish made its name by banking on the Japanese trends of the period and maintained its presence by allying itself with big names and heavy endorsements, namely Hiroshi Fujiwara. In its denim byline, it often teamed up with Fragment Design due to Ryo Ishikawa's relationship with Hiroshi Fujiwara, and is well known for providing some of the best trend-based denim in Japan. Recent years have seen Vanquish expand into other areas, with brands like FR2 for more street-centric offerings and Legenda for a grunge aesthetic, but Vanquish itself as a brand remains one of the best street labels to get started with authentic Japanese street style. Number 3, Cav Imp. CE may be one of the youngest on this list, starting in 2011, but the brand certainly deserves a spot on this list as an instant classics. Spearheaded by Toby Feltwell and the enigmatic skate thing, CE, inspired by a Philip K. Dick novel, is an ode to the original concepts of streetwear. No frills, no super high production runways, no crazy collaborations, just stuff that makes sense, and no unnecessary hype, just buyer beware, which Cav Imp actually means. And even with all that, Cav gained a massive cult following, with many clamoring to get the often limited pieces that sell out nearly every drop. While it maintains an air of underground flavor, Cav Imp's approach and nasty anoraks are a hit in its native Japan and for JP street fashion enthusiasts around the globe. Number 2, Hysteric Glamour. Now this brand is OG, like super OG, like triple OG, starting even before Hiroshi Fujiwara's good enough. Hysteric Glamour started in 1984 under the helm of Kitamura Nobuhiko. Taking on the motif of Western rock from the 60s to the 80s, Hysteric Glamour quite literally paved the way for many brands after it by embracing Western pop culture and proving it had a place in Japan. While not nearly as influential as anything Hiroshi related and very rarely spoken about outside of Japan, not having it on this list would be a huge disrespect, as it would deny not only its impact, but its staying power. Hysteric Glamour is still going strong today with a ton of sub-labels. And number 1, Fragment Design. Now this is kind of a cheat because Fragment isn't really a street fashion brand. Full disclosure. And surprise, but not having Hiroshi Fujiwara in some capacity on this list would be sacrilegious. Sacrilegious, I say. He is the godfather of street fashion in Japan. Fragment, however, was built off the back of Hiroshi's connections and overall impact on streetwear in Japan. And as a result, Fragment is more so a production company that is probably the most important in the history of streetwear. Like globally. No joke. It's probably the biggest. Fragment, or Hiroshi himself, has collabed with nearly every single entry on this list. That's 1. But 2, Hiroshi Fujiwara is tangentially responsible for all of these brands existing in the first place, sans a few. Fragment has collabed with Nike, Louis Vuitton, Pokemon, started the Pool Aoyama, the Parking Ginza, and the recent Konbini, and is largely built on relationships rather than simple clout. Fragment is the lifeblood of streetwear in Japan, and there is absolutely no disputing that. Ask them. Ask everybody knows that Fragment just runs it over here. Everybody knows it. Everybody. Not joking. So that's the 10 you should absolutely know about, but that's just getting you started, and all that information was just the surface. We're sure to cover some of these a little bit later in some future WTHs. And I know we didn't really cover a lot of the ones that you might be thinking of, but chances are they're not bona fide streetwear, or they're just new players that many of you guys know about, but aren't necessarily as impactful yet. But you can still name those in the comments. Or you could just give your favorite one and talk about that. I don't even know what to say right there. Just talk about your favorite one, whatever one that was on this list, or maybe there's another one that didn't make this list that you love about it. Go ahead, yeah, just go ahead and do that. Anyway, give a thumbs up if you like this video. Go ahead and do that. Follow your boy on Instagram. そしてまだやっていないなら subscribe を忘れないように That's not how you say it, but そしてまだやっていないなら subscribe を忘れないように If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. So a lot of you guys want to know what that actually means, what I said in Japanese. そしてまだやっていないなら subscribe を忘れないように It means if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. I'm saying the same thing twice. So there you go. So do that. This is a ridiculously long outro. Anyway, keep it locked right here for all of your info on international street fashion and culture from Tokyo. It's your boy. Keep it casual. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. And I'll see you guys in a minute. And don't forget to check out our partner Squarespace for your next website or business venture. You can get a free trial plus 10% off once you start simply by using our link in the description. That's squarespace.com/thecasual. And Squarespace will get you started fast with easy to use templates, analytics, email marketing, and even Instagram shop integration for you power users out there. We use Squarespace on our site and the transition was easy, painless, and worth it. So again, use our link, squarespace.com/thecasual to get started today.